A Toledo intersection crumbles, leaving behind a huge hole. The collapse just moments away from a potential tragedy.
We had two cars actually cross this intersection. Both barely made it across the hole before it collapsed in.
Right now, the road is closed. Neighbors boiling their water. And the city working to make sure it doesn't happen again.
We need to look at the infrastructure. We need to look at the underlying system that's in place to make sure that no one gets hurt.
The collapse just blocks away from another massive sinkhole 6 years ago. The road opened up, swallowing a car just about 8 blocks away.
The age of our system is definitely significantly old.
I think that we have our job, our work cut out for us.
Live from Toledo, this is 1380C Action News.
And we are learning new information about that massive sinkhole that opened up on a Toledo road.
First told you about it last night on Action News at 11, and today it's raising some questions, a lot of questions about the city's aging infrastructure. The crater opened up late last night near the corner of North Detroit and Fernwood. It's about 15 by 20 feet deep and 30 feet deep. City says 2 brick sewer mains dating back to the 1800s connect at that intersection. One of the lines broke and water poured out. That washed away stone, clogging the sewer line. Eventually, another water main also collapsed, bringing down the road with it.
And now the challenge is making the repairs and taking a closer look at those lines to make sure that this doesn't happen again. 13 ABC's Amy Montgomery live with more on the city's plan. Amy.
Diane, crews have gone home for the day, wrapping up hours of work here along Detroit Avenue. You can see they do have the area very well roped off. They have that sinkhole surrounded by fencing, but what they were doing today was clearing that water main so that they could get in there and make the repair. And then the plan was to take a closer look at all of the pipes under Detroit Avenue. This busy stretch of Detroit Avenue was at a standstill. The culprit is just behind the caution tape. A massive sinkhole.
It probably grew very quickly, very fast with that much water flowing out of an 8-inch water main.
The Division of Engineering Services has had crews working on repairs for hours. Administrator Doug Stevens says it was likely set in motion by a slow leak over a long period of time.
When the water main broke sometime yesterday, it started throwing a lot of water into the ground, shoving stone and dirt into the sewer, plugging up the sewer, and creating a larger sinkhole.
Eventually, the pavement gave way, leaving behind a mess and a major repair project. Stevens says part of that will include looking for other potential issues in the system, especially since this is the second significant sinkhole on Detroit in the last 6 years.
We're going to pretty much take that stretch of sewer, evaluate it, and see if we can't do a near future lining project if possible to put a liner in and give structural integrity to that sewer and stop the sinkholes.
I think that we have our job, our work cut out for us.
The work is happening in Councilman Tyrone Riley's district. He's calling for an investigation into the system from Dorr to Monroe Street and says it's important for the city to talk prevention.
We need to look at the infrastructure. We need to look at the underlying system that's in place to make sure that no one gets hurt and that this type of problem doesn't exist in the future.
And despite the aging system and obvious problems, Stevens says overall it's in fair condition. But he's quick to point out that the need for updates is there, and so is the search for funding.
And we're looking to figure out a way to have a more robust capital program to do lining and other measures that'll improve our system for 50 years or more.
And soon, engineering crews will actually be putting a camera down into the pipes to see whether they can identify any additional problems and then make those repairs from there. In the meantime, this portion here of Detroit Avenue will likely remain closed to traffic for at least another week. Diane?